Testing. Okay, Assalamu alaikum. Hope everyone is well. Let's see if we can get this. All right, okay. How is everyone this evening? Sorry for the delay. And sorry for the delay in also posting about this stream. I was just busy. Sound is good. Thank you. Slight delay. Please remain in your seats. That's right. Okay. All right. Okay. Keep trying to pin the link in the chat, but for some reason it's just not pinning. Let me try to do that again now. Let's go to the studio. Content. Just give me a sec. Okay, let's see how the okay. Finally pinned. All right, okay, so sorry for the delay. Let's get on with it. This presentation, I hope it doesn't take too long. I'm trying to be concise in it, but it might take longer than anticipated. Just check the chat. Walaikum salam everyone. Good. Okay. All right, so this was actually, I think, by request from someone. I think it was Aslam or one of the regulars who asked about the issue of Lot and his daughters and that whole scenario. And at the time, I couldn't think of what I had thought about it, so I thought I'd delay it for another time. So anyway, let's get into it. It's that verse in Surah Hud, verse 78, where it's in the story of Lot alayhi salam. The story of Sodom and Gomorrah, as it's called in the Bible. So the verse says, وَجَاءَهُ قَوْمُهُ, and his people came to him, يُهْرَعُونَ إِلَيْهِ, sort of like almost rushing, really like eager to him. وَمِن قَبْلُ كَانُوا يَعْمَلُونَ السَّيِّئَاتِ, and before that they used to do the ugly deeds. Sayyi'at literally means ugly deeds. Just like hasanat means beautiful deeds, right? قال يا قوم هؤلاء بناتي هن أطهر لكم. He said, "O my people, these are my daughters. They are more pure for you. فاتقوا الله, then have taqwa of Allah. ولا تخزوني في ضيفي, and do not disgrace me in my guests. أليس منكم رجل رشيد. Is there not even a single man among you who is, upright, who is upright on the right path, guided in no way?" So here's the translation. The Sahih International, as always, I just put this one on as default. And his people came hastening to him, and before this they had been doing evil deeds. He said, "O my people, these are my daughters, they are purer for you, so fear Allah and do not disgrace me concerning my guests. is there not among you a man of reason? And of course, the issue is it's been put forward, of course, by anti-Islamists and others. And also, people can just read this, just look at it and think, huh, what's going on? What is Lot doing here? Is Lot offering his daughters to be raped? Because it looks like these guys, they want to come and, even though that's not said, that's just another sort of thing that people have in their minds, that they just came wanting to rape these men, for like they were just going to go in and rape them. No, of course it wasn't that. They came rushing to them, wanting them, or for, of course, that kind of sexual reason and stuff. But it wasn't like they were just going to go in there and just start raping. That doesn't, the idea doesn't seem to be coming there. But that's what people say. Or others say, is he offering them up in marriage? So they say, no, he's offering up in marriage. And of course, that isn't said there. It doesn't say, these are my daughters for you in marriage. They are pure for you. It doesn't say that either. Okay. So what is going on here? And there are two ways that I have of looking at it. The first way is that literally he just meant only what he said and no more. Okay, and it's true. What he said to them is true. My daughters are purer. Okay, he didn't say purer that you raped them or purer that you married them or nothing. Just that they are purer. That that his daughters are purer for them than what they want to do. Okay. There isn't an offer for them to have his daughters, okay, and there isn't even an offer for rape or marriage or anything like that. He's just saying that they are purer than this deed that they want to do, okay. Meaning, of course, it means in the end that them being if they were with his daughters, in how they want to be with these men, that would be purer than what they want. Okay, so just saying that at base level. Okay, that's the first point. He's just saying that he isn't mentioning for them to have them. He isn't saying for marriage. What is he essentially he's saying to these men, and they were all men. As can be seen from the ending of the verse. Alaysa minkum rajulun rashid? Is there not a single man among you? Who is upright. He's just saying that women are purer for you than what you want. It's purer for you to be with women than other men. Okay, and that's just true, right? Physically, in terms of what the deed that is done between men. Okay, it's purer for you than that. But why does he mention his daughters? Okay, he mentions specifically his own daughters for a number of reasons. First of all, he's drawing their attention to how they are behaving with him with regards to his guests. So they came to his house, right? They came to his house, okay, and they are disgracing him with regards to his guests, right? So whereas they should have come to his home seeking marriage to his daughters, all right? So that's basically why he's mentioning his daughters, right? If this was sort of like outside somewhere else, maybe he wouldn't mention his daughters. Okay, if this had happened in another person's house, maybe he wouldn't mention them, because they came to his house, and when men come to your house like this, he's basically saying it would have been purer for you to come to my house in this way, you seeking marriage to my daughters, rather than what you're doing. Okay, but now he's even willing to mention his daughters to them in that kind of way. So in that kind of context. So he's essentially saying, if you had come to my house seeking my daughters, that would have been purer for you. If you had come to my house seeking my daughters, that's a purer thing of what they were doing, which is what yuhra'una ilayhi, right? This word here, and his people came to him, yuhra'una ilayhi, like hastening, really wanting to come. Okay, yuhra'una ilayhi would have been purer for you if they had done that, coming that way, seeking his daughters in marriage, right? Instead, they came rushing like that. For these, who they perceive to be men. Okay, so he's essentially but instead, okay, they come seeking his guests. Okay, so in a way, he's trying to both shame them and honor them. Okay, he's trying to shame them and honor them. Okay, so he's shaming them. Look, you come to my house like this, and you're going to embarrass me like this in front of my guests. Okay, it would have been purer of you if you had come like this, rushing to my house, and in front of my guests asking for my daughter's hands in marriage. Okay, that would have been a purer thing, right? Instead, you're coming to trying to seduce or rape, or however you want to think about it, these men, right? So that's how it looks. This is also shown in the next verse, which gives it gives some history. It's as if Lot had previously mentioned and tried to arrange marriages for his daughters with them in the way that fathers will do. So if you look at the next verse, it says, قالوا, they said, لقد علمت ما لنا في بناتك من حق وإنك لتعلم ما نريد. Okay, they said, you have already known that we have not concerning your daughters any claim or any want. Okay, and indeed you know what we really want. Right. So just look at the emphatic past tense here. لقد علمت, you already know. You already know that we don't want your daughters. Now, how does he already know? Because he previously, before this incident, he tried to get his daughters married to one of them. Okay, he tried to arrange marriages, that kind of thing. But there wasn't even then a single upright man, right? And obviously, before this incident, he hadn't been offering his daughters to them in to be raped or anything like that. Right? So there's something of a history here. Okay, there's something of a history where he had previously. Imagine he's a father there with daughters, and basically none of the men are interested in marriage, and he's been trying to arrange marriages for his daughters in that kind of way. So there is a history there with him and his daughters and those people. And so another way to view the verse in question is that Lot is talking about that whole history and past altogether. He's mentioned it all, not just that one incident. So, هؤلاء بناتي هن أطهر لكم becomes these daughters of mine who I've been trying to marry them to you from before, they would have been purer for you than what you're doing now. Okay, all this time I have been, trying to get my daughters married, and you now come to my house instead of, in response to my requests, or trying to arrange marriages with my daughter. Instead of that, you come rushing, not for my daughters, but for these men. Okay, no, my daughters would have been purer for you. What I've been trying to establish before that would have been purer for you. So that's how to look at it in that kind of way, right? So it's about it's not just one incident where these people came in, they knew nothing about his daughters, there's nothing in the past, and they just come in and Lord just says, hey, instead of wanting to do what you want to do with these men, do it with my daughters. No, it isn't like that. It isn't like that. So that's one way of looking at that verse. Another thing, just more general, and why I call the stream, Lord and prophets, is that we should not equate everything a prophet or messenger does with God or guidance of God. Okay, all the messengers will themselves be questioned, right? On Yawm al-Qiyamah, Allah says, فَلَنَسْأَلَنَّ الَّذِينَ أُرْسِلَ إِلَيْهِمْ وَلَنَسْأَلَنَّ الْمُرْسَلِينَ. Okay, and it's in an emphatic, said in an emphatic way. So it's not for سنسأل. We are just going to ask those who were sent, and we will just ask the messengers. No, فَلَنَسْأَلَنَّ. Okay, it's an emphatic certainty. And we will surely question those whom a message was sent, and we will definitely surely question the messengers. They will be questioned as well. So don't think that everything that a prophet or messenger does, which is mentioned in the Quran, that is automatically moral or a good thing. Okay, even the things like Ibrahim alayhi salam smashing the idols and leaving one thing. People say, why is he smashing other people's idols? Okay, again, these are things. Okay, he did it. Okay, and he tried to do it as an argument to prove something to his people, but he will be questioned about that. There will be questions about that as well. Was this the right way to do it or not? The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he spent 13 years in Mecca. He didn't smash any idols. Okay, and when he conquered Mecca, he just removed the big idols that were in the Kaaba, which didn't belong to anybody. Okay, they were sort of like, properties of the state in that kind of way. Whereas the people who had their own idols at home, they were told, you should, they were told to break it, to destroy it. But he didn't follow that up. He didn't go around, get a mob of his companions going into the various homes and searching for idols to destroy them. No, he just left it. Okay, so we need to understand that the movement of messengers in this life, what they do and everything, all their actions, that isn't God. Okay, that isn't the hand of God at work in everything that they do. Okay, the traditional view of prophets and messenger is one of infallibility, that all their words, all their deeds are guided and that they cannot sin. Okay, that needs to be re-examined. That needs to be re-examined. Okay, we have to re-examine what is a messenger. Okay, what is a prophet? Okay, how does one who was not a prophet nor a messenger change when he becomes one? Okay, so for example, Musa was, with the promise given to Musa's mother, وَجَعَلُوهُ مِنَ الْمُرْسَلِينَ, and we're going to make him of the messengers. Okay, and where in his life is sort of the point where he becomes a messenger? For me, I say it's when God just sends him to Fir'aun. Okay, so he sends him to Fir'aun. From there on, he's a messenger. That's what a messenger is, one who is sent. Okay, what about prophets? Okay, what about prophethood? What does that mean to have prophecy? Okay, what changes when God gives somebody prophethood? In the Quran it's mentioned the God gives somebody nubuwa. Okay, well, what does that mean? Does the person actually change into something else? Their nature changes into something else. Their heart completely changes. Okay, like some sort of like a spirit of, I don't know, an avatar kind of spirit of prophethood or light descends into this person's heart, and now they are completely changed. Is that what happens? When Allah says that, because Musa prayed that Harun should become, should be joined with him in this affair. وَأَشْرِكْهُ فِي أَمْرِي. Yes, وَهَارُونَ أَخِي أُشْرِكْ بِهِ أَزْرِي وَأَشْرِكْهُ فِي أَمْرِي. Make him a partner in this affair of mine. And another verse Allah says, وَجَعَلْنَا, we made Harun a prophet, مِنْ رَحْمَتِنَا هَارُونَ نَبِيًّا. Okay, we also made out of mercy about in response to Musa, we made Harun a prophet. So from Musa's asking God to make Harun a prophet to Harun becoming a prophet, how does Harun change? Okay, does he become something else? Does he basically, if we talk it in like esoteric terms, does he suddenly become enlightened? Does he just suddenly receive enlightenment? This is how, in a way, what sort of like it mirrors the Sufi teaching and the ideas of enlightenment that the Sufis talk about fatah, right? That a person can engage in spiritual practices and struggles until one day he receives his opening, okay, where it's like an enlightenment, basically an illumination. Okay, and we mainly have this idea about prophets. We have this very Sufic idea about prophets. There's the great sage of West Morocco, Abdelaziz Dabbar, right? He talks about how a prophet, they talk about the infallibility of prophets, right? So they say a prophet is infallible, and then they talk about a saint is what's called mahfuz, protected. And then there's all these discussions about what's the difference. He says, for example, that a prophet is infallible but due to a light in his actual body, in his physical body, he has a light which prevents him from sinning. What does that mean? He says, even if somebody were to take control of a prophet's body, sort of like try to sort of mind control, try to control a prophet's body and try to make him sin, he could not make a prophet's body sin. Okay, so it's the infallibility of a prophet is in the actual flesh and bones, so to speak. Whereas a saint, no, you could make a saint a sin because what's called his infallibility, his type of infallibility, is due to knowledge, due to just what he knows. Okay, and that's basically, of course, I'm talking about something else just to sort of iterate that we haven't really re-examined the idea of prophethood and messengers, right? And we still generally in the Muslim world, in Quranic circles, I suppose, I'm not sure, but we have this idea about prophets, which I think is unrealistic. It's not exactly true. Okay, the reality of what a messenger and what a prophet is can be much closer to how the Christians and Jews see them. I think. Okay, they don't see them in the same sort of like really I don't know, lofty or almost like God incarnate way that Muslims do. Even though they don't, of course, we don't say God incarnate, but it's sort of like what a prophet says, what he does, that's all from God. Okay, the Christians just don't see that. In the Quran we have many mistakes of prophets and messengers which are mentioned. Okay, Yunus alayhi salam, he flees, right? He runs away from his charge. Okay, he runs away angry, and the Quran says, وَظَنَّ أَنْ لَا نَقْدِرَ عَلَيْهِ. He thought that we had no power over him. Nowadays, if a Muslim were to think that, most of the scholars would say he's a kafir, right? If you believe that God has no power over you, okay, then you're not a Muslim, right? You've left Islam. Well, Yunus was like that, right? Yunus was like that, and he was, swallowed by the whale. And God said, if it wasn't that he was from the Musabbihin, he would have remained there until the day of judgment. Okay. Then there's Nuh, okay, and how he, sort of answered back to God in that way. All right. Musa, who killed the person. Ibrahim, who mentioned how he lied, and then to get out of God, he lied saying I'm sick, and then he smashed the idols. All of these things, okay. However you want to put them in the scales, these are all actions of various messengers. These aren't the actions of God. Okay, and for the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, of course, we have some mention in the Quran. How he turned away from the blind man, how he gave permission to those to stay behind from a battle, and then God said to him, عَفَى اللَّهُ عَنْكَ لِمَا أَذِنْتَ لَهُمْ. May God forgive you. Why did you give them permission? To stay behind from the battle, from going out in an expedition, until you know those who are truthful and those who are liars. You should have waited. Okay, he made haram for himself what Allah had made halal. Okay, and in the story of Zainab, وَتَخْشَى النَّاسِ وَاللَّهُ حَقًّا أَن تَخْشَاهُ. You feared people, and God is more befitting that you should fear Him. So the point is that we shouldn't have this unrealistic expectation of messengers. Everything that they did was exactly the right thing in every circumstance. It isn't. Not always. Okay. And Lut was a messenger, but one strange thing about Lut being a messenger is that he's also shown to be a person who gained his iman and faith through the preaching of Ibrahim. Okay, it doesn't seem to be have been directly from God. We have the verse فَآمَنَ لَهُ لُوط, in reference to Ibrahim, and Lot believed him. Abraham. وَقَالَ إِنِّي مُهَاجِرٌ إِلَى رَبِّي سَيَهْدِينِ. This was generally, we think that this means this is Ibrahim. It's been put here in the brackets. It's not clear. It's either Lot or Ibrahim who says this, or it's deliberately meant to be ambiguous, because both of them, of course, did hijrah. Both Lot and Ibrahim both did hijrah, right? They both left their people. But the point is this, okay, فَآمَنَ لَهُ لُوط, okay, آمَنَ لَهُ لُوط. So it was Lot who believed in Ibrahim. So Ibrahim had preached to Lot, and Lot had converted or believed. Okay, so is Lot a messenger because he was Ibrahim's messenger to Sodom and Gomorrah, to his people? In the Bible, Lot is not a messenger. Okay, he's not actually a messenger at all, right, from God, right? In the Quran, he's called of the Mursaleen, definitely, 100%. What does that mean, though? What does it mean to be a messenger? Again, going back to that question. In Surah Yasin, we have a strange situation. We have two messengers are sent, and then a third. Okay, two messengers are sent to just a qarya, right? So a township, and present to them the example, an example, the people of a city when a messenger came to them. وَضْرِبْ لَهُمْ مَثَلًا أَصْحَابَ الْقَرْيَةِ إِذْ جَاءَهَا الْمُرْسَلُونَ. When messengers came to them, okay? إِذْ أَرْسَلْنَا إِلَيْهِمُ اثْنَيْنِ فَكَذَّبُوهُمَا. When we sent to them two, but they denied them. Okay, so we strengthened them with a third. فَعَزَّزْنَا بِثَالِثٍ. Okay, فَقَالُوا إِنَّا إِلَيْكُمْ مُرْسَلُونَ. And they said, we are indeed messengers to you. Why does God need to send two messengers, first of all, in the first place, and then a third with them? Okay, to strengthen them. Okay, this happened with Musa and Harun, but Harun was by the request of Musa to become a prophet, to actually become a prophet. But in terms of just a messenger, a messenger doesn't necessarily have to be in that kind of, he might not have nubuwah. He might be a messenger of animal. These are all things which need to be re-examined. Okay, why do you need to free? Were these messengers sent by another messenger? Jesus, why I put this here is just, this is my old studies in tafsir, where they say basically that the messengers here, to the question why they're free mentioned in Surah Yasin in this story, they say that actually these were messengers who were sent by Jesus. Okay, the Isa alayhi salam, these were apostles basically. Two apostles were sent to a township, okay, and then they were rejected. So Isa sent a third one to help out. Okay, and the Quran is putting it in this thing because, of course, they were sent by command from God, through Isa. So the point is that messengers and prophets are not God, and their actions should not be equated with God. They could do things wrong, and there could be questions about them. So for those who see that Lot was offering his daughters to be, used sexually or something like that, and they can't see a legitimate excuse in that situation, they don't look at the history in the way I explained it here, or you're not convinced by what I said, then just put this as, and you can put this as an immoral or unwise act of a messenger for which he will be questioned. Okay, there's no need to really go beyond that. Okay, we have examples, as I've said, of messengers, acting wrongly. Okay, this could be one of them. Why not? So that's what I would say about that. Okay, let's go and check the chat and see who we have. Let's have a quick look at the chat. We have here Sarah, or Sora, sorry. Some profound, some heavily flawed, etc. Devout idolization of prophets, concepts like intercession. Yeah, okay. So we have those. Wa alaikum assalam. Fatih Pahad. No idea how to say that. All right, the impact of, this is the first part of that comment. The impact of Sufi theology on traditionalist Tabrīz Quranic narrative is actually really quite significant when observed. Yeah, it is. It is. Some of it is good. They've probably had the best impact from all of the sects of Islam, and this could be my own bias coming from a Sufi background, but I think a lot of the soul of Muslims would have been profoundly more damaged without the influence of the Sufis, throughout history. Just have a look. Any more comments before I bring some of the people backstage? We have. Okay, Salam, I think Tabari interpreted daughters as the women in the community since it doesn't use the Arabic dual, but the Arabic plural 3+. Yeah, that could work. Yeah, I mean, I haven't looked at the tafsir on this, but it does seem to say, ha'ulai banati. Okay, these daughters of mine, they are pure for you. It could be, that he's talking about all of the women of the city as his daughters, right? As he's sort of like a leader or a sheikh of a tribe or something would say in the Middle East, right? He'd say that these are our daughters. Okay, so that could work. That's not what it would look like straight away, would it though? In other words, since Lot is a patriarch of his community, exactly, marry my daughters means marry the women in this community of yours that I am a patriarch of. Okay, yeah, excellent. Thank you for that addition. Yeah, I would agree that would definitely make sense as well. But it's that second verse after that is what convinces me. It's not about that. It's more there's a history there, right? There's a history. Like I said, that he had tried to marry his daughters off. They didn't, and they come to him rushing like this for his guests, and he says, these daughters of mine, they were purer for you than what you want. You come to my house like this, instead of coming to my house, with the joyous marriage proposals. Right. Adriana, it's like saying, what hell is wrong with you? Yeah, exactly. Here are my daughters. Are they not better than this grace you do to yourselves? Yeah, exactly that kind of thing. So it's trying to shame them and at the same time honor them. Okay, we are living similar times now because some schools in Europe teach children to be a girl or a boy, and that gender doesn't exist. Yep, that's a whole other kind of worms, right? Exactly. If prophets and messengers are not infallible, then how are we different from Christians, since Christians insult prophets? Yeah, I'm not saying that you need to insult the prophets, but you need to, understand, this isn't an argument that works. We just have to be different from the Christians. Who says we have to be different from the Christians? It doesn't mean we have to insult the prophets, but Yunus was a messenger, and he ran away from his charge. And God mentions it, but we can't pretend that isn't true. It is true. So just on do we have any Quranic backing for this idea of messengers and prophets are infallible? This could be just a way of people pushing in dogmas, right? So you say that there's this hadith, it's been invented, and you get forced to accept it because, okay, let's say you accept hadith and you accept that it's transmitted correctly, okay. Now it becomes okay, but this messenger, the prophet, is infallible, right? So you have to follow this hadith, even if it contradicts the Quran. Okay, so it becomes that kind of way of pushing infallibility. No, Allah says, فَلَنَسْأَلَنَّ الَّذِينَ أُرْسِلُوا إِلَيْهِمْ وَلَنَسْأَلَنَّ الْمُرْسَلِينَ. And God threatens the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right? Threatens him in the Quran. You know, وَلَوْ تَقَوَّلَ عَلَيْنَا بَعْضَ الْأَقَاوِيلِ لَأَخَذْنَا مِنْهُ بِالْيَمِينِ. If he had just invented some things against us, we would have, taken hold of him from the right. So I'm just saying it needs to be re-examined. Okay, the whole issue of prophets and the what we call the infallibility needs to be re-examined. I mean, Hassan Maliki, he says yes, he says he has like a middle ground where he says that he accepts the idea of infallibility, but you have to understand infallible with what, even the word isma, which means to sort of like protect something. Okay, protect with what? Protect with what? And he says protection by knowledge. Okay, so a messenger is protected by God giving him knowledge before falling into something. So by God giving the person knowledge, the messenger knowledge, that through that knowledge he gets protected. He becomes you knowing the right and wrong deeply, okay, means you're protected from following the wrong in that kind of way. I'm not sure if I explained it very well. Okay. What else do we have? Some Muslims say that we have this. So don't do that. Yep, we said this. Some Muslims in Torah was localized. Well, yeah, I think it's local, not worldwide as well. I mentioned that in my stream about Noah's son, because if you look at the Surah Nuh, after after the flood and his people are drowned, Nuh comes down and he makes another dua. He says, "Oh Allah, don't leave on the earth anybody of the kafirin, from the kafirin, don't leave their houses open." Okay, don't leave their houses standing, basically. So what does that mean? That means that there were some, because there's no point in him making this dua after everybody has been drowned, and the only people who are left on the earth are the believers. Why would he make this dua? Okay, so it's definitely a localized flood. Why would the verse use the plural form instead of the dual form if it was referring to Lot's two daughters? I don't know about Lot's daughter. I mean, if we knew for certain that Lot had only two daughters, then yes, that would be again that would definitely bump up the argument considerably. But are we sure that Lot only had two daughters? We have that from the Bible again. But again, the Bible says, for example, he wasn't a messenger. Okay, so I'm just talking about just from the Quran. All we know is that he had daughters. Okay, so we don't have the actual number in the Quran. So I'm just talking about just looking at the verse as it is. If you accept that Lot had only two daughters, then what you've said, Muhammad, I think would be correct. All right, okay. Ayman, I'll bring you on after Roman, okay? Because I think you have something to show us today, right? Let's add Roman. Assalamu alaikum. Roman, are you there? Assalamu alaikum.
Can you hear?
Okay, we're getting something now, yes?
Let me work on my mic. Let me come back later.
All right, okay, I'll remove you, I'll bring you back on. You can stay in the backstage. Hi, man. Assalamu alaikum.
وعليكم السلام. هل تسمعني؟
Yes, I hear you. Alhamdulillah.
Okay, good.
Excellent.
Bro, I just wanted to know what you're doing after this stream.
After the stream, it will be like probably around 11 o'clock over here. So I'll be closing up and heading for bed to start work tomorrow. So
Well, you know what? Can you
I can stay behind like maybe 15 minutes
I'd
or
like you
something.
to do that because I want to go over something with you in regards
Okay.
to Salah.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, that's all I wanted to say.
Okay, brilliant. That's fine. Okay, let me pull you off and then we'll do that. Okay. So now, okay, let's see if we've got Roman. Can add him on. If he's got his mic stuff sorted.
Hello?
Hello, yes. Go ahead. Are you there? Well, let's look at this comment. In today's Christianity, they say the reason Sodom and Gomorrah were destroyed is because the people of the city were rapists and highway robbers. Okay. Yeah, that could be. That could be. And yeah, they rejected the messengers and it was that definitely the primary thing with them was the homosexuality, in terms of from the Quran. That is what is definitely focused on. So I don't know about, but in the Quran, city were destroyed because they were homosexuals. Which one was it? Well, and again, well, as Muslim, I'd go with the Quran, right? I'm not sure even in the, that's what you're saying about today's Christianity, right? But, is that what the Bible teaches? Is that what it says? The issue of the Bible is I'm not so sure about, the translations. Well, all these translations in English and stuff, of course, but, it's very, very difficult to ascertain how well the how well they match the original. There's this one guy called Louis Sharif in Saudi from Jeddah. He's a linguist. He's one of those language gluttons. He learned over 5 languages himself, and he loves looking into languages and stuff. And he learned Hebrew. He learned this, and he says that he's talking about the Arabic now, right? He says the Arabic, not just Arabic, but also the English. All of these translations are like disasters. Okay, of the Hebrew Bible, they are disastrous. Disastrous.
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Oh, you can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, awesome.
Excellent, yes. Alaikum salam.
Sorry, I was having some mic issues.
No problem.
About the infallibility of the prophets. I always think of Surah Al-Duha, like it says Da'aleen, that the prophet was Dal, or however you'd say it in Arabic.
Yeah.
And then he was guided.
Yeah.
So, and also, like, it seems...
وَوَجَدَكَ ضَالًا فَهَدَى. Yeah.
That's right, yeah, that one. Also, to be a human is to make mistakes, and, like, what else would they seek forgiveness for? Which is part of, for me, being a perfect human is acknowledging your faults, and your fallibility is part of perfection as a human, is admitting your faults and your shortcomings. And I feel like the prophets would have been the best of people who do that. They admitted when they were wrong. They knew they were human.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I mentioned something similar in I had a video about about uswa versus sunnah, right? And in one of the things that's mentioned there, which is it's always said, in the Quran, God says that the Messenger of Allah. So you're making a lot of noise, crackling
Oh,
noise. Huh?
sorry.
It's all right. I think you're moving around the wires or something, probably. So, okay. So there's the verse says, لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ. Right? In the Messenger of Allah, you have an excellent example. Okay, and
Right.
Muslims automatically take that to mean, the best example. Okay,
Yeah.
but the verse doesn't say that. It doesn't say لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أَحْسَنُ أُسْوَةٌ. It doesn't say the best uswa. Okay,
Right.
it doesn't say that. It says it has in him there is a good uswa. Okay, uswatun hasana. All right. So it's not this idea of just total perfection. That they were like, they would be basically how a lot of the time what Muslims would sort of visualize, at least the traditional idea, a very Sufic idea, is that if God were incarnate as a human being, okay, he would act the way the Prophet acted. That's
Right.
basically the idea, right? That if
I'm
God
saying
were
they could have been
incarnated,
perfect, but in the sense that perfection requires, as far as a human perfection goes, requires admitting your faults.
Yeah, but what they say is that yes, he
Right. No
he sought
faults.
yeah, but he still sought forgiveness, and that's even higher, right?
Right. That
that's
seems
even
silly.
higher.
I don't
That's
know.
even higher amount of things. So it's basically it's due to the seeking forgiveness of the prophets isn't due to their sins so much as it is due to the overwhelming majesty of God. Okay, it's that kind of thing.
Interesting.
It's not about thing, that even if you are completely faultless, okay, you should still be seeking God's forgiveness. All right, and so it's about that. It's just about who God is,
Right.
not as much as who thing. And that in many ways doesn't make sense. They say, one of the things they say, right, is don't think of the smallness of the sin or the greatness of the sin. Think of the greatness of the one sinned against. Right?
Right.
It's like a perspective change. You know what I mean? It's just like looking at things from a different angle. Um, you know, just from a different direction. So seeking forgiveness from a different direction, which doesn't have to do with you being a sin. It's more like just because you are a servant, you are a created thing, and God in his is the majestic. All right. So you can even seek forgiveness for things before you've even done them. Okay, even if you're
Yeah. I
sinless,
mean,
you're seeking forgiveness. I seek forgiveness of God for anything I will do in the future, and it's just basically it's realizing your own imperfection. Okay,
yeah.
vis-a-vis God.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
your imperfection vis-a-vis God, which your imperfection, even if you are a perfect human being, okay, in terms of never sinning, all of this kind of stuff, the
Yeah.
most you can be, is still only human.
I
Okay,
feel
and
like the perfect human
that will
does
always be
sin. They
imperfect.
just acknowledge it. You know.
No, but that's what I'm saying. That a perfect human would not sin. Okay, not sin, but because their humanity itself is imperfect. Okay,
Exactly.
they seek forgiveness just because of that. Anyway, it's I think
Yeah.
it's like splitting hairs and talking about
Yeah. For sure. For sure.
angels on the pin and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But that's the way it comes, right? So
Yeah.
I mean, the Prophet did seek forgiveness. I
Of
mean, put it
course.
this way: for example, he sought forgiveness more ardently than any of us ever do. Okay,
Right.
yet he definitely was, compared to us, definitely was much more sinless.
Of
Okay,
course.
definitely
Yeah.
was much more sinless. So why would he do that? I mean, it's not. So it's not. He didn't seek forgiveness out of a sense of. It wasn't as much as out of a sense of his sins. It's not like, okay, I'm looking at how much sins I do, and I need to seek forgiveness at this amount.
Yeah.
To balance it off. It wasn't like that. Okay, it
Perhaps the
wasn't like that.
prophet he had more responsibility, or any of the prophets. So a small sin may
Yeah,
seem
yeah,
bigger in his own heart in
yeah.
comparison to a lay person, you know.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I'm talking about. There's a perspective difference, right?
Right.
There is a heart filled with, of the knowledge and of God, and of being able to see God with your heart, which just makes the person seek forgiveness in that kind of way. It humbles you. Okay,
Right.
and seeking forgiveness can be just even without any sin. Let's say completely sinless. It is still an expression of that humility. Okay,
Right.
just to seek forgiveness. All right, that in that seeking forgiveness, there's that implicit thing, which is, I am a creature who can sin. I'm a creature who is in that level of a sinful level, even if I've never sinned. That's what I am. Okay, and you are the Almighty who forgives. So forgive me. It's that kind of it's all in the end. It's about that relationship, okay, with God. It's about that, where are you and where is God? Okay, and making sure that you are not deluding yourself above what you are. Okay,
Right.
and forgiveness can be a part of that. Anyway,
Yeah.
that's just
Another thought I had. Could you still hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, great. I don't know about this mic, so I gotta check. But
It's fine.
another thing I've been thinking about, I was looking on the Cronyun Reddit board recently, and there was a poll about the users of the sub that either pray 5 times a day or do not pray or in between. And there was almost 40 something percent of the voters voted they still pray 5 times a day. Like a majority of the Cronyun users do that. And then 30% do absolutely no praying or 5 ritual prayers, whatever, the traditional salah. And then in between that is people who do 3 or 2 or whatnot. And it got me thinking about this schism in the Quranic centric kind of community. And it seems what I found what it boils down to is an ahistorical perspective and a historical perspective. People who reject the traditional salah, they seem to be completely ahistorical in their evaluation. They're very skeptical of any history outside of the Quran or even like historical precedents. They don't seem to value it, and usually it boils down to like, some kind of conspiratorial thing regarding scholars invented this salah, and it just like it was malignant, almost like a scheme that somebody invented. Which for me, I still do the traditional salah. I know you do, and I know a majority of Quranic centric kind of minded people do. And for me, even if the Prophet didn't do exactly the salah, I would be fine with doing it if later peoples were approximating something he was doing. Like, even if it's just an attempt to be very close to the behavior of the Prophet. Like, an approximation, like an attempt to fill the void after the Prophet was gone, maybe an organic development by the community, not necessarily like a malignant, like a plan devised by, conspiratorial people to try to mislead the Muslim community. Maybe it develops organically and naturally as a reaction to the loss of the Prophet. Either that or the Prophet did institute this 5 daily prayers, and we could see that because all the sects, the Ibadis, the Shiites, the Sunnis, everybody does it. It's this. Well, so what are your thoughts on that? It's ahistorical perspective, and also how do we approach history from a Quranic perspective? Like, what's the historical method?
Well, I agree with you that that's basically the split is about that. I wouldn't take the poll on that sub too seriously. It's probably only like what you probably end up seeing it only 20 or something.
It was pretty high up there actually. Like,
how many
it was
responded?
a good less than 100. I don't know. I'd have to check, but I'd imagine between 50 and 100.
Okay,
it was
that would be quite a bit, yeah. But yeah, no, I mean it's clear from there and from speaking to various people that there is a split, and yeah, it just comes down to how much you want to trust the history, how much you want to look into the history. My always thing about I do look into the history a lot, and I don't see any reason to doubt the 5 daily prayers. As being from the uswa of the Prophet, okay, And like I said, that verse just now, there is in the Messenger of Allah, there is a uswatun hasana.
Uswa.
There is a good,
Yeah.
there is a good uswa. Okay, for you to follow. لمن كان يرجو الله واليوم الآخر وذكر الله كثيرا. Whoever has, hope in God and in the next day and remembers God much. And of course, the salah is, it's for remembrance. Okay, it's for
Right.
remembrance. So, but that's a uswa, and God is offering it in the Quran, saying, there is a good uswa for you in Him. Okay, does that mean you have to take it? No. Does that
Right.
mean that it's the best uswa? No. Does that mean that nobody can pray in a different way? No. It doesn't mean any of that. Okay, so I'm always encouraging of people who, well, not. I don't know about encouraging, but definitely not putting them down or trying to turn them away from how they think of the traditional salah and stuff. In the end, if somebody, I try as much as I can personally to make people focus more on what the Quran does say about salah. Okay, what the Quran does say about salah and what it focuses on, that should be the focus, no matter how your salah should be. So, the Quran is supposed to be, as I mentioned, that I think a couple of streams ago, it's a dhikr al-alameen, right? It's a reminder for
Right.
all the worlds. It's a rahmah for all the worlds. That's what it's supposed to be, okay? Having the specific salah ritual, outward salah of, of the Middle Eastern region almost, and specifically of the Prophet, putting that all over the world and everybody must do that. That's not from the rahmah. Imagine
Yeah,
a
of
elder
course.
sort of, imagine an elder sort of Christian man, or he's in
Yeah.
his 50, 55 or 60s. Okay, he's been going to church, and that's where since he's like maybe 20, he became religious at 20. He started going to church regularly, and he
Right.
goes every day for mass or for and that's where he has his salah. That's his salah. Okay, that's how he
Right.
prays to God. That's his remembrance of God. That's his connection to God and all of that. And then at 60, he discovers some way about Islam, and he recognizes it as the truth, and he looks at the Quran, he accepts it, becomes a Muslim, and then he's saying, okay, you have to pray this way. Okay.
Right.
You can't think. You have to do 5 prayers a day, and it has to be in this specific way, and that's it. Okay, if you don't do that, you're not doing salah. No, that's not. That's
I think
not the rahmah.
I think that's one of the reasons God may have left it slightly ambiguous in the Quran to accommodate for those elderly Christian people, those people who do connect.
The people in South America,
Everybody.
if the Aborigines in Australia, the traditional ones who still live in the bush, become Muslim, they can have a salah which is for them. The Japanese, the Chinese, the Indian, the Native Americans. Okay,
Right.
it's supposed to be that way, and the focus in it is always on thing. I mean, there's those qualities which are mentioned in Surah Al-Ma'arij. Okay, if the person who isn't like that, he's not of the Musallin, even if he prays exactly how the Prophet prays. Okay, so that's personally what I emphasize. That, God says, "Illa musallin alladhina hum alladhina hum alladhina hum." Those who. These are the qualities. Okay,
and that's a dangerous dichotomy in the Quranic centric community too. The hardline traditional salat people are almost just as toxic. This idea that it has to be either or, it can't. There's no middle ground. It has to be either absolutely traditional salat or it's absolutely not. It can't be like. It can't be
a lot of the time
this
there
broadness.
is the mixture. The people say pray 3 times a day. That's sort of like almost in the middle, right? That's like saying
right.
5 times prayers, and then there's actually it's supposed to be 3.
But a lot of those people will be it's absolutely 3 times. It can't.
There is that
which
as well.
is kind of toxic.
Yeah, I mean, in the end, if somebody says it's absolutely free and continues of that, that's fine. They're still doing. If they're doing the 3 times. They're doing the
it's great.
Like that,
it's good.
That's fine with them. So you have to
good for them.
Sort of have you have to sort of like a broadness of chest to be able to be accommodating in that way. The Prophet was very accommodating in that way, right? So
I imagine
like that man who came to him, and then people complained to him, this guy doesn't get up to pray Fajr ever. Asked him, why don't you do that? And he says, I'm from a people, we don't get up until the sun gets up. That's my tribe. That's how we are. So the Prophet said, then pray when you wake up. Simple as that. Okay.
That's what I
Even
Not to
even
talk
accept
about
even
Salat
accepting
too
that
much. I know
even
it's overdone
it's
topic.
over thing, yeah.
I know,
Even
but
even accepting those who are hardline about no, Salah is this way, just accept, okay, yes, that's fine. There's this nice tale of Rumi there's these stories of Rumi where he has somebody came to him, what's wrong with you, man? You say everybody's right. You say these people are wrong, are right. You say these people are right. You say you agree with this person. You agree with this person. All of this is nonsense. All of this is nonsense. There's only one truth. You have to follow that one truth. And Rumi says, yeah, I agree with you too.
yeah, Rumi's the best. I'm working my way through the Masnavi for the first time right now, and it's incredible. It's
It's
incredible.
amazing. It's supposed to be actually a commentary on the Quran. He wrote it to be a commentary on the Quran, right?
It's fantastic. I'm working very slowly, but
which ones are you reading? The best translation, I think, is Reynolds.
I'd have to get up and look at the name. It's a huge volume. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of the translation. It's kind of, but it's workable. It's decent.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice.
But to move on from Salat, because I know it's overdone. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to even bring it up, but there's one thing I was thinking about the ayat about the authority, or the obey Allah, obey the messenger, and those in authority, or those with authority.
Yeah.
And I feel like this verse has been taken to mean like those who have absolute authority. But I was wondering this morning if that ayah means more like, some circumstantial authority. Like if somebody has the most knowledge about medicine, then he is the one you're following in authority when it comes to prescribing a medicine, not a king or ruler. He doesn't have any authority in this field. Maybe somebody has some political authority. They're science. They're good diplomatic. Maybe they do have authority politically, but they have no authority medicinally.
Yeah.
So I wonder if this verse is applying broad authority over, somebody could be an authority in this, somebody could be an authority in that, and you follow those people who have the authority in those subject areas.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's just how it is. Just talking about those in positions of leadership, right? That you should, in the end, those who have been put in positions of leadership. Okay, and in that context, of course, speaking about the Messenger of Allah, putting people in charge, right? In various, so for example, when he used to go out from Medina and he put somebody in charge, now this is the one in authority among them, right? So when they differed, which why the verse continues, if you then differ,
refer back to Revelation.
Then refer back to God and His Messenger. Okay, but I don't think it's as much to do with like you said, medicine and stuff like this, and because if you differ in this, you're not going to go back to the Messenger of Allah about that.
No.
Right? So it's more. It is more about sort of religious authority, and in the context of the Prophet, context of the Prophet's life. It's talking about also leadership, because he was also the leader, right? He was a religious leader, and he was actually the temporal leader. So in that, it comes down to both. So in just general terms, you should you obey your boss, right? Okay, you obey your boss at work, right? He's a person in charge. The CEO, then he's the one in charge of the whole company. And then there are those underneath him. Okay, you obey them, right? They're in charge. But it is mainly talking. That verse is mainly talking for us now. It's talking about religious ideas. Okay, those in the authority. Okay, it's talking about those who have sort of religious sanction. Okay, now.
And what does that mean? Like they are, like a governor, judge, jury, everything, or
just be like a judge, somebody who's like who has sort of like is being put, because there are people in sort of religious authority, right? There's going to be people who are going to be leaders in the community and stuff like that. But the key thing about that is that this authority isn't this kind of absolute. You can differ with them. Point is, you can differ.
And when you disagree, you refer to Revelation.
Refer back to Revelation. Okay,
but for instance, imagine a governor put in charge, and he's a religious authority, a theocrat, or whatever you call it, type thing. If he wasn't a Hafiz, if he didn't memorize the Quran, he'd have to refer to somebody who's the authority in Quran.
Well, I mean, if he was going to be talking about the Quran, right?
Right,
so
exactly.
If he was going to make a judgment, if he wanted to make a judgment, I want to make this judgment based on the Quran, he himself would have to refer. He's going to be referring back to things. But if he was going to just make a judgment, religious judgment, okay, he makes one, okay, and then people say, hold on, this is not right, okay, this is not right according to the Quran. Then now, okay, now we have to refer back together to the Quran, right? Back to God and His Messenger, right?
Yeah,
So
it just makes me think of how the Quran enjoins us to, or like, what is our relationship to politics and the doing of, from a Quranic perspective, is kind of something that's been on my mind lately. This idea of authority and shura, because amr, the same word, is in the verse about shura, the consultation. You know, your affairs are by shura.
Yeah.
So like consulting with those among the authorities. You know, like if a commander or governor wanted to build a road connecting two cities, he can't decide where the road goes. It has to be the architects. You know, they know, they have the authority on where to place the road and things, and you know.
That verse about shura, I mean, it's not said, you know, it's praising those who their affair is done
it's an
by
ethical
shura.
thing. Yeah.
It's praising those who their affairs have shura between them. Okay, it's praising them. I don't think it's a command as much saying.
I suppose you're right. Yeah, that is true.
Yeah. So,
but I mean, it's of course we want to follow the ethics. Of, the ethical guidelines, of course.
Yeah. Well, what is being put forward as an ideal here, right?
Right. Exactly.
Okay. But even that, okay, in terms of like a shura of deciding who's going to be from ulul amr, who's going to be the person sort of in charge. You know, it's society has to be structured that way. People have to be in charge of various things, right?
Yeah, leaders, of course.
Yeah, you need to have that. You need to have specialists and people who are in charge over here and over
teachers
here,
and students.
Yeah, and it can't just be like a complete free for all, and nobody should be obeying anybody.
No.
Anywhere, okay.
But that's what I'm saying.
Where somebody who has vast experience in this or that, or in leading a country and stuff like that, we just say no, we don't have to listen to this person. Or somebody who's, it's not that kind of thing. It's about understanding those who have merit.
Exactly.
Okay, God will give each possessor of fadl, of sort of distinction, their distinction. Okay, they all get distinction. There's the verse of the majalis of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam when he used to have his majalis, his where people would come and sit right around him, okay, and there were some who wanted to sit close to the Prophet, okay, to make it seem as if they had the Prophet's ear. Imagine if you're there in the mosque of the Prophet and you're just a person sort of like who just comes in and sits down, and you look and you will see those people sitting closest to the Prophet. One of them comes in and whispers something in the Prophet's ear, like he's telling him secret, disclosing.
You see it with Sufi sheikhs. Yeah, you see people do it today.
Exactly. You start to see that these people are the people who are close. Okay,
right.
So the Quran, and there were people who were doing this for hypocritical reasons. Basically, they wanted to show people that they were sort of like people of value, right? And so the Quran says, and the Prophet used to tell them to move. Okay. He wanted to have the people whom he knew had knowledge, and those people whom he trusted, who had real faith, okay, who really trusted him. He wanted them close to him because he wanted other people to see those people closest to him, right? So he used to tell them to rise and move, give these people space, right? To give those companions whom he saw.
That makes sense.
Merit, be closer to him, sitting next
with
to him.
That ayat. I never really understood that ayat. Make room. I was like, okay, it's crowded in here or something, but that makes more sense.
No, that's why the Quran says, then and they used to complain about that. Those people, why is Muhammad? You are saying that Muhammad is fair and he's just. Why is he making me get up from my place for this guy? And these people who are attempting to do these sly things, they would start to say things like this. So no, Allah says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, or you who have faith, إذا قيل لهم افسحوا في المجالس فافسحوا. If you are being told to make room in the majlis, make room, okay? And if you're told to move out, move out. And then it says God will raise those who have faith and those who are given knowledge in degrees, meaning the Messenger of Allah will bring those who really have knowledge and those who really have faith close to him. Those are the people who should be there. Okay,
Right.
so their society can't run without that, without people having leadership structures.
Yeah, in charge of things, professional or experts, experts in certain
and
fields.
professional stuff
Yeah.
like that. Exactly.
And it's not only that it can't or it shouldn't or should, it just does. It just this is how it is.
We can't become the experts in everything, right?
No,
You
of course
have to focus on certain things in your life, right? You can't,
Yeah, humans specialize. We specialize.
exactly. We specialize.
Right.
Precisely.
Yeah. Just been on my thought, those couple things. I feel like I've been on for a minute, but
Nice. It's fine. It's fine.
yeah.
Let me see if there's anything else in the chat. Oh, this is an interesting one, I think. Bring me on live. All right. Yes, I'll bring you on, Ayman.
Okay.
Okay. If you're right, thanks, Roman. Actually, don't mind. I'll
All right.
bring you up and bring on Ayman.
All right. Always
Okay.
nice talking. Assalamu alaikum.
Yes. Thank you.
Peace.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Ayman, I'll bring you on. Let me just go through some of these chats. Lut offering his daughters is his dream. All with guests are of Ibrahim, and Lut is their dream. That is an interesting one. I've never heard of that. I'll have to think about that more. Why 3 rakat? What are the reasons for the amount of rakat? Again, I have no idea about that. There is somebody, Adnan al-Rifai, who says he figured out the number of rakat in a consistent way as well. Watch the video of him explaining it in a very consistent way by, again, one of these things where you're counting the letters and stuff like that. And it is very consistent the way he explains it, the number of rakat, but I don't really know. I mean, that's how it is. Again, uswa hasana, right? A good example, not the best example. Who knows, maybe different number of rakats can be different, right? But the traditional idea is that the Prophet got the way of salah, the number of rakats and all of that from Jibreel. Okay, Jibreel taught it. So there could be some sort of spiritual significance to these things. Who knows? The thing that Adnan Rufai says that he found the number of rakat by specific looking at different number of different letters in a consistent way in all the ayats where the names of the salah are mentioned or alluded to. That works, and we have that, for example, in the in the Quran, the word salawat in the plural comes 5 times. Okay, it comes 5 times. And now, of course, the salawat, the traditional the salawat are 5. So there could be links in that. Who knows? Who could be counted as the Musallin again? And this is in Surah Al-Ma'arij. Okay, if you go to Surah Al-Ma'arij, just read it. It's one of the short surahs, not very short, but one of the shortish surahs. It lists them. It lists the qualities of the Musallin. Okay, the one who has those qualities of the Musallin. Going back to this, about it being a dream, people of Lut were not destroyed because of homosexuality, because Allah's sunnah doesn't change. They were destroyed for preventing Lut to have Namud. Don't know what that is. Those who want to get knowledge from Rabb. I don't understand that Aladdin, to be honest. I didn't get it. The ayah which says about make us true is in Surah Al-Mujadila. Surah Al-Mujadila. Surah 58 or something like that. Let me bring you on, Ayman. I can see he's got something loaded. Let me stop this share. Remove that. Hold on. Stop screen share. Let me see which one is the best one. Yeah, I think. Oh no, that's not the one. This is too far thing, right?
Yeah, that's right. You've got to make yourself smaller.
Yeah, how do I do that?
Yeah, there is one particular setting there. Yeah, I'm sure we'll figure it out.
I'm going through all of them now. That makes me.
Yeah, it's something like this.
Yeah.
The other way around.
No, I'm clicking. There's how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 6 settings here. I'm going through all of them, but they're all the same. But anyway, this looks fine, right?
Yeah, this is okay. All
This
right.
is okay. Let me try one more. This is probably a little bit better, right? Not sure, but anyway, go ahead, my friend.
Okay, first of all, I just want to say to everyone, yeah, I'm a little ill today, so if you hear me coughing in the background, yeah, please just excuse it.
No.
Okay, you know what? Yeah, there's one thing I want to talk about is Salah. You see, there's over 1 billion people. God knows their number exactly. And they think that Salah is a ritual prayer. And what it is, I've been researching this word Salah for about 7 years. And I've looked at all the ayahs in the Quran, and I've seen many ayahs that don't fit. And the translators have also struggled when it comes to translating the word Salah in certain context. I mean, I could show you the evidence. Yeah, that is not a problem. Now, the thing is, yeah, my theory is, yeah, that this word Salah, yeah, comes from the proto-root word Sal, Sad and Lam. And this proto-root word Sal, yeah, one of the meanings in English is, yeah, let me just pull up my notes.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, here we are. Attain, reach, connect, apply. In fact, yeah, let me just copy and paste it into the virtual webcam. So you can all have a look at it.
Yeah. Attain, reach, connect, apply, make close, to come, deliver, convey, to continue, unite, combine, union of companions, friends, lovers, etc. Establish a connection, transfer, convey, to deliver, transmit, communicate, to conduct, act as a conductor, persist, persevere, belong, maintain close relations, to, I don't know, that's covered, something efforts, confer, have discussions, exchange opinions. Okay, did you get all of this from a specific, did you combine it from multiple sources? Or is it
Yeah.
only one
Well,
source?
most of this is from, I think it's called Hansware Arabic to
The Hansware,
English
yes.
Lexicon Dictionary.
Mm.
Okay, well, my understanding, my theory is, yeah, that there is a conspiracy going on, yeah, about this word Salah, yeah, because, yeah, the majority of us have been told, yeah, and believe that Salah is a ritual prayer. And I'm hoping today, yeah, to prove that Salah is not a ritual prayer. Yeah, I think that this word Salah, yeah, they have hijacked, yeah, the root word, which I think is the proto-root word Sal. And what they've done is they put a wow at the end of it and made a root word, yeah, which is completely different, yeah.
So,
Just like they made this, yeah, from Sal, they've made another root word, which is this
so
one
this,
here.
let me ask you this: what we're looking at this in the screen, this is the root. What you think is the root for Wow Sal Lam, right? Wow Sal
Yeah.
Lam. Yeah. So what's the
That's
root for just Sad Lam?
Okay, but the root for Sad Lam, according to Al-Ma'ani, yeah, is connection, connect. Yeah,
Okay, well,
and I can show you that word in the Quran.
so
Yeah,
is this because this one also has connect as part of the root, but you're saying all the other ones are basically false. Yeah. Is that?
well, you know what? I think there's some kind of conspiracy going on. Yeah, I think the conspiracy took place, yeah, possibly 1,200 years ago. And I think what they've done is well, I mean, we all know that the traditionalists, yeah, they use this word Salah from the Quran and they superimpose a ritual, yeah, which they think that the details are from the Hadith, because they always say, yeah, to us Quran only followers, yeah, that what about Salah? How do you perform Salah? How many rakats are there in Salah? Yeah, what are the details for Salah? You see, this is like, the way of saying that the Quran is not fully detailed. This is another way of challenging, Allah's words, by saying, it's not fully detailed because we don't know how to perform this ritual prayer, which they think is Salah, and the thing is, I'm hoping today, to prove to everyone, that this word Salah is not a ritual prayer. Okay, first of all, we're going to start off with chapter 6, verse 38. Let me just put it on the screen.
Yeah, go for it.
So here it says, there is not a moving creature on earth, nor a bird that flies with its two wings, but are communities like you. We have neglected nothing in the book, then unto the Lord they shall be gathered. Okay. Over here, Allah is talking about communities like us, for example, birds that fly. Yeah? Okay, so now let's have a look at another ayah in the Quran, where Allah talks about birds. Chapter 24, verse 41. Do you not see that everything in the heavens and the earth glorifies God, even the birds in formation? Each knows its salah and its glorification, and God is fully aware of everything they do. Right, now over here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving us a clue, about these birds in formation. Each knows its salah. So we need to think about this. This is what we need to reflect upon. These birds in formation, each knows its salah. So now the question is, what is the salah? Well, the only way you're going to understand this, is if you look at the behavior of geese, when they are going on the migration. They form a V shape, and this V shape, according to the scientists, is the bird which is in front, which is the leading bird, when it flaps its wings. The the drag, the that it pushes down, that causes lift for the other birds which are behind it. And they say that because of this extra lift that these birds get from the leading, the birds in front, they can travel 71% further distance.
No,
so
I heard about it. I thought it was 30%. Like they said, if I remember the number, it was like they saved 30% of energy or something like that. But 71, yeah.
Well, I've seen 70% and I've seen 71%, on the internet. So here, we've got one thing which is called leadership. We've got one bird who's the leader. It flaps its wings and it helps those which are behind it, and those behind it also help those geese which are behind them. So each one, is working in unity. This is the the connection. Okay, so this is what the scientists say. They say geese rotate roles. They encourage the leader and empower others to lead. For the lead goose in the formation, drag is high. When the lead goose in the formation tires, it rotates back into the formation and another goose takes its place. The lead goose then immediately feels the advantage of lifting power from the bird immediately in front of it. So here, we've got, the scientists are talking about leadership, and also, the roles of leadership changing because, when the bird in front gets tired, it gets back and another bird takes over. So each one of them, is showing leadership skills.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's look at chapter 21, verse 73.
Okay, bring it on.
Okay, 2173. And we made them leaders, imams, who guide by our command, and we inspired them to do good works and hold the salah, which is a connection between people, and contribute towards purification, and they were in service to us. So here, Allah talks about leadership, imams. Okay, next ayah, chapter 9, verse 103. Take from them their money, a charity to purify them and develop them with it, and make salah connection with them. For your salah connection is a tranquility, a reassurance for them, and God is here knowledgeable. Okay, the lesson, it is important to share the load amongst team members. We should not only be able to admit when help is needed, but we should also work to empower those around us to take the lead too. Everyone has different skills and capabilities, and showing the Lord gives others a chance to shine. Expecting one person to take on all the work is unrealistic. People work better when interdependent with one another. Okay, point 2 or lesson 2, from the geese, teamwork. Geese fly together. They share a common goal and direction. When your team has a common goal that they want to reach, they will be more efficient, effective, and successful when they work together. Okay, let's have a look at chapter 20, verse 14.
About this one, are you saying here that also the prophet was supposed to sort of rotate his role of leadership with them?
Well, we're going to come to that in a bit.
Okay.
Okay, chapter 20, verse 14. Surely I am Allah, there is no God but myself, so serve me and establish salah for my remembrance. Now think about this. Allah is telling us clearly here in this ayah the purpose of salah. Well, one of the purposes or elements, let's say, establish salah for my remembrance. So just bear that in mind. This is one of the goals. Let's look at chapter 9, verse 71. The believers, male and female, are friends, allies to each other. They bid virtue and forbid vice, and establish the salah, and contribute towards purification, and obey Allah and His Messenger. Those are the ones whom Allah will bless with mercy. Surely Allah is powerful, wise. So there are your goals.
Okay, yes.
They bid virtue and forbid vice, and establish the salah, which is people getting together to enjoy good and forbidding evil, learning from the Quran. This salah is like a connection between people where we study, reflect upon the Quran, and try to bring the Quran into our lives, out of the darkness and into the light. I think there's an ayah about that as well, where Allah says, that He and the angels do salah. Brother, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
They do salah to take us out of the darkness and into the light. So what is Allah's salah over here in this context? Has anyone given it any thought? It's not going to be doing ritual prayers. But what the traditionalists want to believe, that this word salah in that particular context means blessings, but it doesn't, because the word barakah in Arabic means blessings. So this word, salah or salawat, I think the word is salawat in that context. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah. Which word? For
You know, where Allah and the angels do salawat
no,
to the
they
humans.
do yusallun.
Oh, yusalluna.
Yeah.
Is
So
it
there's two.
yusalluna?
It's there's the one where it's to the Prophet. Inna Allahumma malaikatu yusalluna ala nabi. Right. There's that one. And then there's هو الذي يصلي عليكم ليخرجكم من الظلمات إلى النور. He's one who يصلي upon you to take you out of darkness into light. So those are the two instances of that.
Okay. Anyway, let's have a look at chapter
But
9, verse
just
103.
just to mention something for the tradition, the traditional view, like the scholarship, the traditional view, is that salah is also connection. Like they don't say it doesn't mean that. They do mean they say it means connection, but that's what it is. Sort of this ritual salah of regularly doing a ritual salah is a connection with God. So they
Yeah, I totally agree with that, bro. It is a connection. People get together, after the calling, to establish the salah. But like I told you, I think it was last week or the week before that, there's nowhere in the Quran where Allah is instructing us to recite the Quran back to Him. I've got evidence from the Quran where it clearly says, recite it to the people.
Yeah.
So why are we reciting it back to God?
Yeah, I remember that.
See, this is my argument.
That was a new perspective for me, yeah?
Yeah, that is my new argument. Like I said to you, a couple of weeks ago, who are we saying Qul ya ayyuhal kafirun to? Who are we saying Qul ayyu shay'in akbaru shahada to?
No, I hear you.
Basically, what we are doing is, we are stood up there without even realizing it, and we are teaching Allah our deen without even realizing it, just because our forefathers and 1 point, God knows how many billion people are doing it, doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it the truth. And I'm hoping today, to prove to you all, that this salah is not a ritual prayer.
Well, we'll take a lot of thought for people to maybe listen back to all of this.
Of course, bro. I've been studying this for 7 years, and I think it was only like a few days ago, where it clicked. It clicked. All we need to do, is look at the behavior of these geese or duck or swans, and we can understand what the salah is.
Well, let me ask you something.
The behavior will tell us our salah. And I've actually made notes. Yeah,
no, I was just saying that if you don't mind a bit of pushback, what do you say then of these solitary birds? There are certain birds which are extremely solitary. They don't have, in any community or anything like this. There's even, the bird which, what's called the cuckoo or something like that, right? The one which literally cucks other birds and stuff, right? So it lays its egg into.
I can't comment on them, bro. You know why? Because I've not done any research about these other birds and their salah. I've done a bit of research, past few weeks, on these like swans, geese,
and
ducks,
geese, and migratory birds and stuff like that.
Yeah, precisely, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, innit, even the birds in formation. And I know that there are certain birds out there, that are not going to be in formation. They're going to be on their own.
No, but does that verse say birds in formation? Bring that back again, because I haven't noticed that. Maybe I need to look at it's something I missed in the verse. The verse that you mentioned right in the beginning, the one about
I think it's Safatin.
There's a verse which says that, but that verse that you mentioned, the one you mentioned at the start, can you bring that again? Alam tara inna Allaha yusabbihu lahu.
Yeah, okay, 1 sec.
That each of them knows their salah and their tasbih, right?
Yeah. In fact, let me see if we can pull up the Arabic as well.
Yeah, we'll put them in, please. Yeah, that's it. So الطير الصافات. Yeah, ولم ترى أن الله يسبح له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض والطير الصافات كل قد علم صلاته وتسبيحه. Right? So again, so we're talking about everything in the heavens and in the earth. So it mentions the birds which are safat. What about the other things on the earth and the other things? Because I don't think it's, it will be like excluding.
That is another story. That is a different story. Yeah, we should be sticking to these birds. Yeah, in formation. Each knows its salah. Yeah, so let's stick to here. And then
But
once
the
we've
kullun,
gone over this, we can maybe look at these other birds.
no, but the
And
kullun qad alima salatahu, that includes everything, including these words, but everything else, because the beginning of the verse says, "Alam tara anna Allah yusabbih lahu man fi as-samawati wal ard," everything that's in the heavens and the earth, and then says, and the birds, safat, kullun qad alima salatahu wa tasbihahu. So what you're saying is that the salah part, I get what you're saying now. The salah part is just about these birds which are safat.
that's right, bro.
Whereas the tasbihahu, okay, that is everything else as well.
That's right. That is
Okay,
absolutely right.
I get you.
Okay. Okay, let's go back to this one. Yeah, chapter 9, verse 103. In fact, let me get out the Arabic as well. Here, yeah, a typical ayah where the translators I think, have had problems translating the word salli, which is in the middle of it, was salli alayhim. Now, my question is, yeah, what is the root word of salli? Yeah, it says the salli, and the majority of them have translated it as prayer, and some of them have translated it as blessings. So we got wasalli and we got salataka. So my understanding is, yeah, this word salli is connection, link, bond, establishing relations. Yeah, which is the same as like salah. Yeah, that's my understanding. Yeah, because over here we got sal. So my understanding is sal. That's the proto root word, or the root word of salah. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean the one thing about the Quran, right, in how we have it, some of it depends on how you view the whole issue of the rasm of the Quran, right? The what they call the Uthmanic rasm, the how the spellings. Okay, so on some of the Quran you will find it if you look in the Mus'haf, if you look into the manuscripts, okay, you will find that Salah is written with a waw. Okay, it does have a waw, right? And in other verses, the Salah doesn't have a waw; it's an alif. Okay, so you can find that. I mean, it's not clear on this one, but there are many other verses like like where it says give the establish the Salah and give the zakah. The Salah in most of those verses which are like that is written with a waw. Okay, it's written with a waw, and then there's a plural of it, salawat, right? The waw comes out again. So it's got to do. It's a strange one because even though it's recited always without a waw, okay. Sometimes it's written with a waw, and then when it's actually written in the plural form, the waw comes out, and this has to do a little bit with the whole the radicals. Okay, when something is a root word, when something is part of the root, sorry, one of the letters which is part of the root is either a waw, an alif, or ya. Okay, behaves differently than normal root. So for example, here we have the verse تطهرهم, right? In this verse it says to purify them, right? That has the ta and the ha and the ra as roots for this word, this concept of tuhr, of purity. Okay, and that they will always be like that. You will never get a word which has this meaning of comes down to this root where any of those root letters disappear. Okay, but when you have when a root word contains as a root either a waw, an alif, or ya, it's very common for these roots to either disappear in the different forms, different verbal forms. They either come or go. Okay, that's just in the normal how Arabic is viewed, even how you pronounce it. Okay, sometimes you pronounce it in a way and sometimes not. Like for example, the verb can, right? The helping verb in Arabic, can, like was, right? That's kaf. The actual root of that is kaf, waw, noon. Okay, like say kunu, be, you be this or you be that. Kunu, like in the Quran, kunu hijaran, be you, stones or iron or anything else. God will still resurrect you. Okay, the wow comes out, and then in other times the wow disappears, like in the past, can, right, or yakun. Okay, so they behave differently. The other words are also like cad, and so they behave differently. That's the thing. And then of course, above that, you have the issue in the Quran where the orthography, I think it's called, how it's written, how different words are written in the Quran, um, is written the way that it was handed down. Okay, so it's written the way it was narrated, even. Okay, so even the way the Quran is written, okay, it comes down. Okay, there's a manuscript evidence which completely confirms to it, but most of the mushaf that you pick up now and thing, they base this the script, how it's written. When should we have a wow in this word? When should we not? Like words like rahmatullah, God's mercy. Sometimes it's written with an open ta, a normal ta. Okay, sometimes written with the ta marbuta. Okay, and that comes down to the how it was narrated that it was written. Okay, I believe, and others would second this. That this comes down to how the Prophet wanted it to be written down. There's reasons why the same word, exactly the same word, pronounced the same way, is spelled differently in different parts of the Quran. Okay, so even the word where you mentioned that samawat, right, the heavens, the skies, right. يسبح له من في السماوات ومن في الأرض. Praise to him, Allah in the skies, the heavens, and on the earth. So on the whole Quran, it's written with sin, mim, waw, ta. Okay, you can't see the alif, right? It's not actually written with an alif in the actual script, the main script. Except in one verse, it is written with an alif. In one verse, it is written with the alif is there. Okay, and there are many things that these kind of like they call them idiosyncrasies or something like that. I forget. I can't actually pronounce it very well. But there are certain orthographical features of the Quran which are sort of just as they are. So that makes it, a little bit more difficult if you're going to just focus just on these words where you have salah. Is it have a wow or not? Okay, or maybe you can even think that these are two different words and meanings in the Quran. Do you know what I mean? So they have slightly different meanings. There are people who have done work on that. So for example, lam tara, do you not see? All right. There are some times where it's written with a normal alif, and sometimes with like a weak alif, right? And so some people say that this means a specific thing, and this means a slightly other thing. So maybe that's something else you could investigate with regards to salah. So when salah is written with a waw in the Quran, maybe it means something slightly different from when it's written with an alif, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's more complicated than because of the perspective we're talking about Quran only perspective. Okay, it's more complicated than saying does salah have a waw or not as part of its root. I don't know if that was clear.
Yeah, it was all right though. But as you can see, the word is suddenly, I think. Yeah. Yeah. So the thing is, that to me, is in its like simplest form.
Yeah. No, I get you.
Okay. Now let's move on to this next one. Yeah. Can you can you read that chapter 29, verse 45, which I've highlighted?
It's very small on my screen, but yeah.
Okay.
اتلو ما أوحي إليك من كتاب ربك. Thank you. Yeah. وأقيم الصلاة إن الصلاة تنهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون. Yes. So recite what is inspired to you of the book and hold the salah, for the salah prohibits immorality and vice, but certainly the remembrance of God is greatest, and God knows everything you do. Yes.
So here we go again, bro. Yeah, you know that, I mean, this recitation of the book, Quran, it's not meant to be recited back to God, because God already knows our deen. He knows everything that is in the heavens and the earth, and Allah is knowledgeable of all things. So, I mean, my biggest argument is, why are we reciting it back to God? So basically what we're doing is we are teaching God our deen. And this is the reason, that I ain't going to perform a ritual prayer. This is one of the main reasons, because Allah is not telling us to recite it back to Him. Yeah, the book is a recitation back to the people. So here, I'm going to move on now, to this salah of these birds in formation. So,
okay, go ahead.
Let's just scroll down over here. So here, it says, the lesson, there's power in unity when a group of people are working towards a shared goal. You know what that shared goal is, yeah? To prohibit all immorality and vice. That's the shared goal. Yeah, so, we can learn some lessons from these geese. Number 3, communication. Have you ever wondered why geese honk when they fly in formation, but not when they fly alone? Honking is how they spur each other on during flight. Similarly, when working on teams, it is important for each team member to communicate regularly with others, encourage one another. Teams frequently fall apart because of inadequate communication. Constant communication among members is important to keep moving effectively towards a goal. Chapter 17, verse 110. Say, call him by the name of Allah or Ar-Rahman in whichever way you call. His are the best names. Do not be too loud in your salah, nor be too low in it, and seek a way in between. Chapter 42, verse 38. And those who have responded to their Lord and have established a salah, and whose affairs are settled with mutual consultation between them. Now, this is important here. Allah talks about salah over here, and whose affairs are settled with mutual consultation between them. So when people are performing this ritual prayer, is there some kind of, mutual consultation going on between them? No, there isn't. There's absolutely nothing going on. Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, that's true.
And they're not really prohibiting vice. Yeah.
I see what you mean. You're showing a lot of
isolated in a building, talking to God, teaching God, our deen, and they think, what they're doing is good, enjoining good, forbidding evil.
You're showing a lot of basically links between salah and communal action, right?
Yeah, precisely. And the thing is, this salah that they are doing, this ritual prayer, it doesn't really encourage the feeding of the poor. Helping the needy, helping the stranger, helping the traveler. It does nothing of that sort. But when salah gets mentioned, there's always something to do with helping people. Encouraging the feeding of the poor. Okay, let's continue. Chapter 2, verse 38. We made a covenant with the children of Israel. Serve God alone. Be good to your parents, relatives, orphans, and the poor. Speak nicely, kindly to people. Perform the salah and contribute towards purification. Then all but a few of you turned away as you were interested. So my understanding is, people weren't really interested in getting together, talking about Allah, like I told you a couple of weeks ago, salah sessions.
Yeah.
Yeah, where people come to a place, at specific times, like Allah tells us in the Quran. Yeah, they sit down, somebody recites the Quran to them. Yeah, they learn what is in the Quran. I mean, you know this, and the viewers, the majority of the people who call themselves Muslims, they don't even understand Arabic. Yeah, so when the Imam is reciting the Quran in Arabic back to God, everyone behind him, they don't even know what he's saying most of the time. Yeah, they might get to understand a few words, but they don't really understand what he's saying. And I'm talking about the majority. And even those Arabs, even the Arabs, who stand behind the Imam in this ritual prayer during, let's say, Tarawih or any other uh, ritual prayer. Yeah, I mean, they can understand Arabic. Yeah, they know what the Imam is saying. Yeah, but you know this, and I know this. Yeah, they are so far away from the Islam, which is in the Quran. So how is the ritual prayer helping them? It isn't. It's doing absolutely nothing for them.
Yeah. I get you.
Yeah, and it's not going to do anything for them, bro. It's not going to do nothing from them. Yeah. Anyway, that's my understanding. So let's continue. Yeah. And here,
Right.
in this context, Allah is saying, speak nicely, kindly to people, and perform the salah, the connection. So lessons in groups where there is encouragement, the productivity is greater. Remembering to provide recognition and encouragement towards each other, including the leaders, is vital to keep teams motivated and achieving their goals. Okay. Empathy, we're almost finished. Empathy and support. When a group gets sick or wounded, 2 geese drop out of formation and follow it, down to support, assist, and protect. They stay until the goose dies or can fly again. Then they launch a new formation or catch up with the flock. Chapter 5, verse 106. O you who believe, when death draws near one of you, that is, at the time of making a will, the evidence between you shall be of 2 witnesses. Yeah, just like those geese. Yeah, when a geese gets injured, always sick, always dying. Yeah, 2 geese. Yeah, accompany that geese.
That's a brilliant one. Huh?
Yeah, over here, Allah is saying exactly the same thing. Yeah, you know what I mean. When death draws near one of you, there shall be 2 witnesses from among you, or of 2 others not from you. If you are traveling on the earth and the trauma of death visits you, then you shall detain them after the salah. If you have some doubt, and they shall swear by Allah, we shall not take a price for it, even if there be a relative, and we shall not conceal the evidence of Allah as due of Allah, otherwise we should certainly be among the sinners. Okay. So this one over here, empathy and support. Let's have a look at the next one. Chapter 5, verse 55. For your supporters are God and His Messenger, and those who believe. They hold the salah, connection, and contribute towards purification, and they kneel, take heed. It is essential that team members realize that without each other, there is no team. The lesson, stand by each other in difficult times. It's easy to always be part of winning teams, but when things get difficult and people are facing challenges, that is when your relevance as a teammate comes to the fore.
Yep.
Yeah, so like I said to you, there's lessons to be learned from geese. Yeah, they're doing a salah, and if you truly want to know what salah is, watch a few videos on YouTube, on the behavior of these geese, when they are migrating, when they are flying long distances. Check out their behavior. That is what their salah is. And we should be emulating that. And you know what? When it comes to presentations, I'm not very good at presenting.
That's fine. That's
doing
fine.
essays and articles and whatnot. Because I'm actually a computer programmer. But I just hope you get. Yeah, I just hope you understand. Yeah.
No, I understood it. I understood it, definitely. It was actually a lot of excellent contemplation on these verses. Really, I never sort of like thought of it in the way that you presented it. Definitely not. I'll have to look through it again and think through it again. But you've shown a lot of links between salah and a lot of the communal actions which are enjoined in the Quran. That it's linked together a lot of the time. So it's definitely, I mean, for example, I would definitely say people who are engaged in what you are saying in that kind of way, they will be of the musallin, right? I mean, from what I understand of the goals of salah, right? The ones who are doing what you're mentioning in all of these, that's definitely exactly what salah is supposed to bring about. So I'm with you on that, definitely.
Also, bro, there's an ayah where it says, "Woe to the musalli." Yeah, you've made a video about that, and it was supposed to be, if I can remember correctly, it was in regards to those people who don't encourage the feeding of the poor.
Yeah.
Yeah. So think about it.
Yeah, it was basically those who reject the deen. So I was talking about it in terms of what does it mean to be a rejecter of the deen, right? And then it says فذلك الذي يدعو اليتيم ولا يحض على طعام المسكين. It says فويل المصلين, and then it says الذين هم عن صلاتهم ساهون, those who are mindful of their salah. الذين هم يراؤون ويمنعون, those who want to be seen and then prevent the assistance. Assistance. So that would jive definitely with what you're saying in terms of the salah being something where you come together and you cooperate to enjoy good, forbid evil. Where you form that connection within the community, right?
Yeah.
All right, definitely you've given us a lot to think about here. Let me see some that I think you've got a lot of people thinking in the chats.
Yeah, well, Allah does tell us. Yeah, I mean, let's look at the first ayah again. Yeah.
Yeah, bring that first verse again.
First ayah, chapter 6, verse 38. There is not a moving creature on earth, nor a bird that flies with its two wings, but are communities like you. So think about this. They've got their salah, and we can learn from that. Yeah. If we want to know what salah is, you know what? Look at some videos on YouTube. Yeah. On the behavior of these birds. Yeah. There's a lot we can learn from them.
Yeah, definitely. We've got here Roman saying, this was good, Iron Man, well done. And I feel like this is a truer inner meaning of salah, where the traditional is merely a form, but what Iron Man is talking about is the salah of the heart, not just the body. Okay, pretty good. All right, definitely I have to thank you for that. And you did do very well. I was following attentively all the way through, and definitely a lot to think about and contemplate. I mean, just the fact that you've done all this contemplation on this issue, and came over here to present it for us. Jazakallah khair a lot for that. Thank you so much. Definitely well done, and a great addition. I mean, it's something I'm going to have to think about a lot, and I'm sure other people will think about it too. Do you have more, or is this? That's basically.
There is more information, but you know what? Let's wait till next week.
We'll see that for the next time. Okay. All right. Okay. Brilliant. Again, Jazakallah khair. Thank you so much. I think we'll end it there. We've almost come to 2 hours. Let me just check the chat to make sure there's nothing that's undone. Anybody have anything they want to mention? Can they retype it very quickly before we end? Give them a minute or something for that. You had about, I think, almost 16 people listening to you when you were explaining that. I don't know if you noticed, which is
no, I didn't notice, bro. Well, thanks for watching and staying behind.
No problem. No problem. All right. Okay. Looks like nobody's put anything on the chat. We'll end it there. Iron Man, I'll remove you first. Assalamu alaikum. Hopefully see you again next week with more. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Salam. And everybody else, again, thank you so much for coming on. And a reminder, anybody can what Iman did here was excellent. He put together something to present. A lot of contemplation, a lot of thought went into it. And anybody else can be feel free to do the same. You're more than welcome to put something together. Come on and and share it with us. I'd be happy to host it. Okay. All right, with that, I'll leave you all be, and Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.